And I also lived on Daisy Hill. I lived in Lewis. And my favorite thing about it was the fact that I was on a big hill because you can go sledding really easily and it's really fun. So.
Awesome. Thank you, ambassadors. That's all really great information. Real quick, we're going to turn it over to Jackie Mckenna. She's the Associate Director for KU Housing and Administration. So excited to hear from her.
All right. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here with you. Oops, we'll get the chat box out of your way. We see the screen okay, right? Everything looks good. And Ambassador, thanks. Okay, so welcome. So much information to share with you about KU student housing and to help you to be informed as you get ready to join us here on campus. So lots of great info to go through. I'll also try to answer questions we've received ahead of time, but then also help with the questions that you have tonight. So we'll get started here. Oops. There we go. Okay, so just going to give you some brief information about the application and contracting process, also talk about room selection, and just give you a general overview of KU student housing options. So if you're not familiar with campus, that's perfectly fine. The thing you need to know about housing is that we've got an option in a location for you. The great thing is one of the great things about housing is our convenience that we offer. We have housing located all over campus. So if you're looking by a specific location or room type, we're going to have something that's going to fit and work for you. If you're not familiar with campus, our housing is in different areas or sections of campus. We have 8 residence halls located up on Daisy Hill in our central district area, and they're also on the north side of campus. We have 12 scholarship halls that are cooperative living environments, all located together in a neighborhood together. And you can see them highlighted in that red section. They're right off of Jayhawk Boulevard, a great location on campus, and they're our cooperative living environment. So students do have to apply to get into that community, and as a part of the cooperative living nature of the community, they have our lowest price point for housing and dining options. We also have on-campus apartments available for you as an incoming first-year student, and then also as you continue to live on campus throughout your KU career. And those are located mostly in our central district area, and then also in our Daisy Hill area with Jayhawker Towers for upper-class students. We have over 5,000 students who live on campus, and a majority of the first-year class makes up a lot of our residents, especially in our residence halls, and then a good portion of our community in the scholarship halls. So we're located all over campus in lots of different options. Our housing application and contract is available. Many of you have probably already signed your housing application. It opened up in October. There is a $50 application fee that you pay. It is non-refundable. So many of you have signed up. If you haven't yet signed up, it's not too late. You can go onto the KU portal and sign your housing contract. It's going to get you set up for your room selection date and time, which are coming up really fast. In the KU portal, in addition to signing your housing contract, you also have the ability to fill out your scholarship hall application. And we have started review for the scholarship halls. Maybe some of you have already got an offer into the community. If you are just now hearing about them, or maybe you haven't applied to the scholarship halls, it's not too late. If you're at all interested in that community, we're still reviewing applications, but I do recommend getting that in as soon as possible. And you can also submit your scholarship hall application in your KU portal. Room selection for new students is coming up really fast in April. We're really excited for students to start selecting their housing. One of the great things about KU Housing is that you select and are in control of where you live on campus. So there's no preferencing, there's no chance of, oh gosh, what am I going to get, because you're deciding. You get to pick your room and space. You also get to pick your roommate along with your dining plan. You're in control of everything. So there's nothing left to chance because you're going to pick it. As I mentioned, room selection is getting started. Students do select their housing based on the order they contract. And you can go online right now and see our room selection schedule that's getting ready to start. Also, once you contract for housing, you receive your assignment group or your group selection number. And if you misplace that or you're just not sure, you can always log into your housing portal to see that information. So as our selection day nears, what do you need to do to be prepared for room selection? One of the things you want to do is you want to double check and make sure you know your room selection number and what date your group is available. We do have 3 groups a day go once we start room selection. And not only will your room selection number be tied to a specific date, it'll also be tied to a specific time that you're eligible to go into the system and start room selection. We sort of stagger everyone so we don't overload the system, and it gives you a little bit more time as you're navigating your choices and finding that perfect room. It gives you a little bit of time to be able to do that. As you prepare for room selection, we have a lot of resources available on our website that can help you. One, it can help you to narrow down the choice. Are you looking based on location, maybe room type or amenity, or maybe it's the price point of the rooms? All of that information is currently available on our housing website, which is housing.ku.edu, and you can log in and see that information and select it. We also have a program on our website that will ask you questions and help you to narrow down your choices. So if you're really set on a specific price point, it will guide you to the different room types and options that we have based on those price points so you can narrow down your choices. Or maybe it's a location on campus and it'll help you to make that decision. Finally, we have a worksheet available on campus that as you're preparing for room selection, you're like, what all information? If you're like me, you want to have it all set, all decided, so you can just go through the process. We have worksheets that you can work through. It'll ask you every single question or element of your decision that you're going to need to think about ahead of time so you can have all your decisions made and then additional options or other things that you would consider as you're navigating your choices. All of those resources are available at housing.ku.edu, and you can get to those. It'll also have information if you're looking to find a roommate or to pull in a roommate. We do have a lot of students who know who they want to live with, or they have found a roommate they want to live with, and you have the ability to do that living on campus. We also have a lot of students who don't know their roommate prior to living on campus, and they simply select a room and space that they're interested in living in, and another student does the exact same thing, and that's how they're matched up as roommates. If you are looking for a roommate, we have a roommate matching system that I'll talk about in just a moment to help guide you to that. But if you have a specific roommate in mind, we do have the ability for you two to live, or however many, to live together and ensure that you are all in the same room and space. So I'm going to use Cody, our ambassador, as my example. So Cody and I decide we're going to live together. Cody was really organized, got their stuff in right away, and they got into selection group 13. I, on the other hand, maybe didn't get my stuff done as quickly, and I'm in group 17. What's going to happen is Cody is going to be the responsible one. Cody is going to go in. They're going to find a place for both of us to live. They're going to have collected all the information they need from me because we've decided what, room type or amenities we're looking for. And they're going to have my information so they can find me, pull me into that room, and also select the room for me. To do that, students, you're going to need a few things. One is the correct spelling of the person's last name. You need their full name, their date of birth, and then the roommate pin that students can create. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure Cody is prepared and they have my name, my date of birth, and my roommate pin. You set your own pin. You can log into your KU portal to do that, and then you share it with your roommate. Keep in mind, it's a uniquely created pin. So if you call us at housing and ask what your pin number is, we can't tell you because you created it. So you're going to share that with your future roommate, and you're going to tell them what kind of meal plan you want, because they will also select that for you. They are going to they're going to have all that information. Cody's going to go out and find a place for themselves and for me. They're going to select the room, pull me into it, and that's how we're matched up as roommates. If there were multiple of us, so let's say there are 4 of us that are wanting to live together, Cody, with the earliest contract date, is still going to need all the same information for all the other roommates. And then they go out and find a space that has 4 openings. If there's not 4 openings, they can't pull all 3 of the roommates in with them. So keep that in mind as you're forming roommate groups and pairs, that we're happy to get you into those spaces as long as we have space available for it. Just make sure the person who is doing the selecting has all the information they need to successfully do that. On our website, you can see this is a screenshot of housing.ku.edu, and you can go out there. You'll see the link to set or change a roommate pin. And then also we have screenshots and specific instructions out there to help guide you to how to not only to select a room, but also to put your roommate into the room and space. We also have information about if you're looking for a roommate. Again, a lot of our students don't know their roommate prior to moving in, but let's say you're wanting to try to find someone or match, you're welcome to do that. Definitely not required, but you're welcome to do it. And just below where, you can set your roommate pin and have instructions for selecting the room, you can also find our roommate questionnaire. Our roommate matching system is in our KU portal. So you'll need to log in with your KU information. What you'll do first, if you haven't already, you go out and you fill out that roommate questionnaire. You're going to answer questions about yourself in terms of how clean and tidy do you like your room, or how easygoing are you about the organization? Or are you a morning person, or are you a person who likes to stay up late at night? Do you like visitors? Do you not? Do you like lots of noise and activity in the room, or are you looking for something more quiet? So we try to give you options of things you can connect with others, and then that allows you to go out and search and find other people. You can find there are 14 different questions that you can answer about yourself, and then also find matches for in the system. You can search for up to 5 questions at a time. It won't let you match on all 14 questions at a time, but you can look up to 5. And then based on how you want that person to respond to the question would determine the answer you're wanting. So you select your up to 5 questions you're looking to match for, and then the answer and how you want them to answer. And if you click on the preview button, which is just up here at the top, once you have selected your questions and how they answer, you can then hit preview, and it will spit out a report with other information about students who match based on the criteria you have put in the report. It'll give you information. As a student, you're able to put additional information about yourself, like there is an About Me section that you can fill out to supply with additional information, or if you're wanting to put a social media handle so people can connect with you that way outside of the roommate matching system, you're welcome to do that and check that out. This is what the report looks like. It'll tell you how people answered their questions, and if they have additional information, it would be just below the questions about them. It also gives you contact information like an email or a cell phone number, and you can also export this into Excel to continue sorting and finding additional matches or organizing your information how it best suits you. But this is an option if you're looking for a roommate. You can also, if you maybe find and connect with people at an event like this or some other event or experience you have, you can find your roommate however you want. But also know if you just find a place to live for yourself, We have a great roommate agreement process we have students go through to help you and your roommates to be as successful as possible when you're living with us. Also keep in mind, if it's just not a fit, whether it's the other human or humans you're living with, or maybe it's the room or the location on campus, if things just aren't working for you, you can always, as long as we have space available, request to move. And we're happy to work with you to find a good option or solution that's going to work for you. We understand and know that the roommate selection process can be really stressful and overwhelming. We don't want it to be. So if there's anything we can do to help, here's our contact information, our phone number, our email address. Also, we're putting tons of information out on our website, along with there's even an opportunity for you to ask questions about room selection or as we get ready for next year. And you're also able to even go and see what we've responded to other students about with their questions, because likely if you're asking a question, another student's feeling the same way and has a similar question. So we're really, really excited to welcome you to campus next fall. There's going to be a lot of information as you prepare to move to campus and start that Jayhawk journey. But as you are making decisions, selecting your room and space, know that we're here to help you as you need it. And, you know, we're just really excited to welcome you to campus.
All right. Thank you, Jackie, for all that really helpful information. I'm sure that helps out a lot of people here. Just while we have you here for a couple minutes, I'm going to open up the chat and I believe even the mic if anybody wants to hop on and ask a couple quick questions, now is the time.
I've got a question.
So can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I was looking at the Lewis Hall, and I know I saw on the website somewhere that it said when bunk beds are in, like you can't separate them. Is that true in the Lewis Hall? Are the bunk beds, do they have to stay that way, or are you able to pull them apart and put them opposite sides?
Sure. So we do have detailed information about all of our furniture that we have in all of our buildings. Specifically in Lewis Hall, the way the style of beds are set up, they're either able to be bunked and sit one on top of the other, or you can take them off and then they can be regular height beds sitting on the floor. They don't have the ability to loft and have both beds up high in the air. Part of that is, you know, the style of bed, but it's also the setup of the room and how much space that we have. And so we have videos online of our different rooms so you can take a look at things. We also have floor plans available on our website. So you can check that out. As we work through the summer, you know, we will continue to put more information out about the room specifically. If students are going to be on campus this summer for orientation, depending on where things are as it relates to COVID-19 and health precautions that we're needing to take on campus, we often open up many of our residence halls so you can see room types and styles in our spaces. And as long as we're able to do that, you know, following public health protocols, you know, our hope is to give you all a chance to get and see it, because we know many of you haven't even been able to visit campus, and you're going to come here this fall. So we're continuing to put out more information about our rooms and spaces so that you all can be prepared for. So lots of questions in the chat box. So I'm going to try to rapid fire get through some of these. Do we have spots for first year students in Stouffer Place? You bet. The whole north side of the building is only first year students. So you get to be an apartment, you get the cool amenities like your own bedroom, bathroom, a furnished living room, a full kitchen, and you're still in a first year community with other first year students. Also, our students who live in Stouffer are required to have a meal plan because you got that full kitchen set up along with a washer and dryer in your unit. For our students living in the residence halls, you will select a KU dining plan, and students in the scholarship halls eat within the scholarship halls, and they have a specific scholarship hall meal plan. If you have specific dietary needs as it relates to meal plans, check with KU Dining. They really do a great job in offering and providing food that is works for students with severe dietary restrictions or allergens or special diets. If you have really significant dietary needs, I highly recommend utilizing and working with the University Academic and Access Center on campus. They do a great job of helping students connect with any accommodations that they need to make, both with food or housing, transportation, classroom accommodations. They're wonderful and highly recommend connecting with them. We do offer a gender inclusive housing community. It's a specific community located in Lewis Hall. If we have a student that needs any type of an accommodation for housing, we're always happy to work with them. And so you're welcome to reach out to us individually, or you can also look at our gender inclusive housing community that we do have. So great question about how housing contracts work. When you study abroad, you graduate early, you get an internship outside of Lawrence, we make your housing contract match up with your academic needs. So if you are going to take a semester study abroad or internship or student teaching, or you graduate early, if you don't need your housing, you're not going to be charged for it. You have the ability for that flexible housing contract based on your academic needs at KU. Justin, feel free to cut me off whenever I'm running out of time for questions, but I'll keep hitting on these. Also, if the ambassadors or the staff sees specific questions that you think I should highlight, just let me know. But yes, flexible housing contract for academics. We offer housing all year long. So if you need summer housing, you need break or housing over winter break, we've got you covered, no problem. Deadline for housing applications. There's no deadline specifically for housing applications. It just determines when you select your housing. If you're still trying to decide if KU is the place for you, I recommend, if you can, go ahead, contract for housing, pay that $50 application fee. You can still select a room, and for housing, you have up until June 1st to let us know whether or not you're going to live on campus without additional financial penalty. That way you can be fully informed and have as much information as possible when making decisions about school, and hopefully helping you to be set up in the best way possible.
Yeah,
Justin.
I think that's great, Jackie. Yeah, that's helps a lot of those questions. And of course, as you probably saw, for everyone, we will have a long mingle here in a little bit to tackle a lot of those very specific questions. So thank you again, Jackie. And at this time, we are going to transition over to show you guys actually in a room. So we've got Pedro. He's in a 4-person suite in Ellsworth Hall. So I will turn it over to you, Pedro.
For sure. Hi, everyone. So here we are in a 4-person suite. We're starting in what is one of the rooms available in the suite. So as you can see, it's a 2-person bedroom. So you're going to have you and your roommate over here. Every single room here at the university provides some furniture for students. So something that is completely assured is that you're going to have a bed, a desk, a chair for every single student here. Sometimes you'll get some extra stuff. For example, we have a loft. You can also get a dresser. There's a lot of amenities. From here, we're going to move to the main area here in the 4-person suite. As you can see, we also have the sink, which is really useful having it outside because that allows students to be able to, wash their hands, brush their teeth while everyone else is using the bathroom. We also have a cooking sink, so that can be used whenever you're, cleaning any dishes, stuff like that. So you can see you have a nice kind of kitchen area where you can store anything you may want. Students are allowed to bring their own stuff, so you can easily bring a mini fridge, a couch, a TV, whatever you want to use to fill out all of this space. You're always going to get the information of your roommates like a month before coming to the university, which is real nice. That way you can start talking to them and deciding who's going to bring what. Over here, we also have a bathroom. This is a small one. There's different types of bathrooms. And for example, for suites, you usually have your own bathroom inside the suite, and you're the one in charge of cleaning it. So you can decide between your roommates who's going to be cleaning it. And another option is having a bathroom, a communal bathroom in a hallway. If that's the case, you're not required to clean it. It's going to be facilities the ones who clean it. So yeah, every single room has access to temperature decisions, and then you have access to Wi-Fi and cable, so it's a really nice room.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pedro. That's great. We're going to now turn it over to Zion. He's in one of our scholarship halls. Go ahead, Zion.
Hello, I'm Zion Guevara. I'm a second-year student from San Antonio, Texas, and I'm right here in one of our scholarship halls. We have 12 halls on campus, 6 all-female, 4 all-male, and 2 co-ed. So this is one of our female scholarship halls, Douthart. This is one of the 4-person rooms, so this is their living space. And then over here, this is where they sleep. They have built-in dressers over there, so this is a 2-person area, and then there's another one across on the other side of the room. So this is where you kind of have the style of room where you sleep in here, you have your work and study areas out here, and then there's communal bathroom on the floor. When the other scholarship halls, there are other options as well. So this isn't like the standard for all scholarship halls. Some have the 2-person room with the communal bathroom. Some of them have a 4-person suite with a individual bathroom. So you have all the different styles available in the scholarship halls as well that you would have on Daisy Hill. There's also all this, a lot of the same amenities. You can control your AC from your scholarship hall rooms. A lot of the ones with the sinks and kitchenettes, they will have their own little dining plan with that as well. But yeah, they're a great community down here. I personally live in a scholarship hall, and I think they're really great. So I met all of my friends, so I highly recommend them. But wherever you live on campus, you'll find a great community there.
Thank you, Zion. I hope that gives everyone a little better idea of a couple different living spaces on campus. And as you've heard a couple times.
Sorry, Justin, we're cutting out over here.
You can keep going. I think it was.
Okay, awesome. But so yeah, that's a couple examples of living spaces on campus. But right now we're going to turn it back to our ambassadors that you heard from earlier and open up the mingle for more questions that you may have already asked or have some new ones now that you've seen the spaces. So go ahead, Kendra.
Okay, hi, thanks, Justin. I'm Kendra, I'm in charge of ambassadors. So we're gonna try to look through some of the questions maybe that we didn't get to in the chat or some questions that you sent ahead of time. One was, how do I pick the housing that fits best for me? And Emily, would you answer that for us?
Yeah, I like to tell students and how I chose my housing was I really thought about like how I wanted to live, and that was a really great way to narrow down where I wanted to live. Jackie was talking about how, on ku.housing.edu, there's so many different ways you can like narrow down where you want to live. So for me, that was, I wanted to live in a 2-person room with a private bathroom. So that was how I really narrowed down where I wanted to live. And I knew that Daisy Hill, which is kind of a cluster of first-year residence halls, was a really great community. So I knew I wanted to live there. But I would encourage you guys to just look through the housing website and look at the amenities and narrow it down from those amenities.
Thank you, appreciate that. So another question, and Jenna, why don't you take this one? What items should you bring with you?
Yeah, so I lived in a 4-person suite style, so I was able to talk to my roommates. I went completely random. I didn't even do the roommate search or anything, but because you have their contact information listed, we kind of started a group chat over the summer, and we all picked who was bringing what. So I was in charge of bringing the mini fridge. Another person was in charge of bringing the futon for our suite style. We also had, I brought the Keurig because I can't go without coffee. So that is something that you can have in your residence hall. And then I would say make sure that you have a little shower caddy, because we had our own, whether you have your own bathroom or a communal bathroom, a little shower caddy to carry all your things. Those are probably like the top things I would say to make sure you have.
Okay, thank you. Cody, can you talk a little bit more about choosing a roommate? Looks like we're getting lots of questions about that.
Yeah, so room sync isn't a thing anymore, right?
That's right. Yeah, we have our own roommate matching system now.
When you fill out online your housing application, you go through and you take this little questionnaire, about 14 questions. Like if you get up early, if you like studying quietly, and then you can kind of pick and see what people kind of selected the same answers as you, kind of match it up that way, and then you're able to reach out with them. Filling out that questionnaire does not solidify you to have the top match as your roommate. Just kind of lets you like have that connection, talk to them a little bit more. The girl I roomed with actually went to elementary school with me and had moved away. So that was a pretty cool connection that we made. But we just found each other by trial and error, DMing girls on Instagram that I saw was also going to KU. There's also usually a Facebook group that'll pop up that will be like KU class of 2025. And then you can kind of meet people through there. So does that answer?
Does any ambassadors have anything to add?
I would just say don't feel like you have to know your roommate. Like I said earlier, I went completely random with 3 other females in my room, and I'm still friends with all of them today. So whether you go into school knowing someone or you go completely random, like Jackie mentioned, if for some reason it doesn't work out, you can always switch. So I would just make sure that that's not like a huge stress on you right now, because if it does not work out, it's not like you're locked in for the whole year. So definitely use that. But yeah, there is an official KU Facebook page I know that you can get on and kind of just write a little bio about yourself if you are concerned about knowing your roommate ahead of time.
Okay, thank you. It looks like we've got some more questions coming in. I'll let those. Will we get to tour the residence halls during orientation in June? And actually, I don't know the answer to this, but I bet Jackie does. Jackie, could you help us with this?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, if we can, based on public health guidelines, if we can open up halls so you can see a room type in residence halls to see the space, the furniture, we'll do that. Again, it will all be dependent on public health guidance, and it won't be all spaces, all rooms, I can guarantee that, but we will try to have as much offered as possible as we're able to if for orientation. Again, we'll also continue to put information online. So if there are specific things that you are looking for or wanting more information on, really send us information in our question section of our website, and I'll post that link in the chat so people can see that.
Okay, it looks like we also have some questions about the dining plans. Can one of our ambassadors talk about the dining plans? Mamie, do you want to try that one?
Yeah, sure. So we use a declining balance system. So essentially what that means is you would pick like a tier from the system, and then that is the amount of money that you have for that semester or that year. And that is really awesome because that allows you to eat anywhere on campus. That allows you to eat in the residence hall dining halls. That allows you to eat in any of our dining options on campus, Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, all that good stuff is on the dining plan. And essentially when you go to Chick-fil-A and you buy your $5 Chick-fil-A sandwich, $5 comes out of your declining balance amount that you have. And then when you go to like the residence halls, maybe it's like $9 for dinner, like $9 comes out. So then you really have a lot of flexibility in where you eat and when you eat and how much you eat. And yeah, it's just a really cost effective and easy system to use. So yeah.
Thanks, Mamie. We're also getting some questions about our gender inclusive housing. Does one of our ambassadors want to take them?
I can, because I lived in Lewis Hall. So that does offer a gender inclusive housing community if anybody is interested in living there. But students that are interested in that community are also welcome to live anywhere on campus. And a variety of students will be living in all of the residence halls. So you really will get to meet people with all different backgrounds and interests and things like that in any residence hall that you live in. But at least when I lived there, there was like a floor for students that wanted to live in the gender inclusive housing community. And yeah, so that is kind of how that worked. So maybe they change it year to year, but yeah.
Yeah, so the big point is that's an option, but you would never be put in gender inclusive housing unless you actually selected that you wanted to be put in gender inclusive housing. So I think that's a really important thing to note. But we do have that available to our students, which we're really excited about having that. So another question that came through is about transportation. Emily, do you want to talk about some transportation options around campus and commuting to the airport, for instance?
Yeah, thanks, Kendra. So when I came to campus as a first-year student, I had a personal vehicle that I brought. So I was living on Daisy Hill, and I actually got a parking pass up on Daisy Hill, so that's where I ended up parking. But to get to class every day, most students will either walk or take our KU buses. So those bus systems are free for KU students. So they run all over campus, and I wasn't somebody who had ever used like public transportation before I came to campus. So there is an app called My Bus Lawrence that shows you all the different bus stops, where all the buses are and all the routes. So it's really easy to learn and take advantage of those bus systems. But we also have different options, like Kendra mentioned, to get to the airport. There's a KU shuttle that will take you there, as well as KU Safe Ride, which is kind of like a KU Uber that's free for KU students that will take you anywhere you need to go on campus or to an off-campus apartment or house. So there's definitely easy ways to get around campus, whether you have a personal car or not.
So all of the halls, including the scholarship halls, has some parking there where you can buy a parking pass. So you can go on to parking.ku.edu. So no matter where you live on campus, there will be a place to put your car. Yes, freshmen can bring cars, but you really don't have to. Like Emily said, there's lots of opportunities to get around on the bus. A lot of our students will leave their car parked all week and just use the bus to get around for the most part. So let's look at some other questions here. So where should I live? How do you all answer that question? Who wants to start with that one? Jenna?
Yeah, so when I was thinking about it, I thought of the room type I wanted as the first kind of criteria. So that narrowed down that I wanted to live in a suite style. And going completely random, I thought my odds were better that I was at least going to like one person if I was in a 4-person rather than a 2-person. So I wanted to be in a 4-person suite style. So that was one of my big things I needed. And then I chose Daisy Hill because I want to be around the most people. So having 6 of the residence halls out of the total residence halls near me was really important to me because I was able to meet people not only in Templin, but also in Lewis and Self and Oswald. But I know people that choose Downs Residence Hall because it's close to the business school. So if you're a business student, that might be an option. I know some people choose GSP or Corbin because it's closer to the Union because you may have classes in Fraser or in the Union. So it honestly depends. I think location's a big thing, but then also thinking about Daisy Hill, because if you want to be around a lot of other first-year students, I would say Daisy Hill just because you're around 5 other residence halls.
Yeah, and the scholarship halls actually aren't on Daisy Hill. The scholarship halls are actually closer to the Union. So they're really, really close to the Union, really close to the Chancellor's house. Some of the closest housing options actually on our campus. So that question, I don't know who exactly came from. But to kind of wrap things up here, Emma, if you could put the rep picker in there. So if anybody does have any follow-up questions, you can ask your admissions rep or use the link that Jackie gave you a little while earlier to ask your questions because we want to make sure they all got answered. But ambassadors, to wrap things up, if each one of you want to give one piece of advice to freshmen, mostly housing related, one thing you wish you would have known about student housing or about moving to campus before you came.
Yeah, one thing I wish I would have known for sure is that like I had a lot of anxiety coming in about, choosing which residence hall I was going to live in and all of these things, but you really can't go wrong. Every single residence hall is amazing and you're going to have that residence hall community no matter where you live. So I think it's important to just be excited to be on campus and be with your peers in the fall.
Jenna, do you want to go now? And then maybe.
Yeah, I would say for anyone that loves clothes like I do, you don't need to bring all your clothes with you to campus. If you might not have as big of a closet in your freshman year residence hall or scholarship hall room, so you don't need to bring all your clothes. You go to school, you don't really have to dress up, so just think about that.
kind of like what Emily was saying, don't put too much pressure on yourself to pick like certain residence hall or find like your roommate that's going to be your best friend forever, because hopefully that does happen, but there's going to be so many people to meet on campus everywhere. And I would recommend just like saying hi to people everywhere that you go. Everybody's looking to make friends. I made some of my best friends like in the elevator one day. So you never know where you're going to meet people. So just be open and friendly and you'll definitely find your friends.
And then Cody,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I would definitely second what everybody else said, but also just when you come to KU and come to housing, you're going to meet so many people that came from like so many different walks of life that have grown up so differently from you than you, and just to like have an open mind, be accepting. My roommates and I got along really well, but we had all been raised by very different parents, and just finding out our living styles and how we worked best together. But it ended up being amazing. We're all really great friends. But don't stress out about how close it is to a certain building or if you got the right room or the right roommate, because you'll end up being exactly where you should be.
Thank you. Absolutely. That's a great note to end on. And I will just let you all know that move-in dates and info are still being determined at this time, but you will get that information this summer. So it'll just be based on what university needs and also what first year experience and those kinds of things. So as things shake out, you will get communication. So don't worry about that at all. We will communicate with you, and you can always ask us, like I said, your admissions rep or the housing department if you do have questions, but we will make sure to communicate that with you. So be checking your email. Email is definitely a form of communication that we use a lot. So that can be really helpful so that you know what's going on all the time. All right, well, I think I will kick it back to Justin then to finish us up.
Yeah, so just want to thank everyone again for being here. It's been really nice to have you all here, and I hope many of your questions are answered. But as Emma provided in the chat box, as you all know, you do have your admissions reps to reach out to. So please do, because we really want to make sure that you guys are all situated for finding your fit in housing and get all of that squared away so you can just relax and enjoy your senior year. So, you know, please reach out, and if you need us to provide the link again, please let us know. But with that, say rock chalk, and I hope you guys all have a great evening. Thanks for coming again.
Thank you.